standard way of playing a banjo. Publications were introduced across the country. This is how you play the banjo. And that, when I was a teenager, that's what I thought. That was how you played the banjo. And all the publications said the same. But when I got out of college and started my education, I learned that it was different. And I started looking up the old banjo players that lived in this region and began to learn that there were so many different styles, tunings and right-hand techniques, two-finger, claw hammer, every kind of technique. And I went to my uncle one time to learn. And I said, he was doing that two-finger. I said, what happened to the claw hammer? He said, I got tired of that old way of playing. So he had another way of playing it. So there was a certain variety, a great variety of ways to play this instrument. And you don't see it too often anymore. So George is resurrecting a kind of playing that's been around for ages. Nobody knows how long, and he'll talk a little bit to you about that. And he has a recording called Last Possum Up a Tree. And this style of playing is very rare, and he's bringing this back. And I want to present to you today some unique banjo styles that are amazing to me. I think you'll share in that after we're through. I present to you The Last Possum Up the Tree, George Gibson.
When I started playing banjo around 1950, most boys my age and older were beginning to learn to play bluegrass, and I probably would have, except I had a neighbor named James Slone that still played the old-time music. He had learned most of it from Mel and Shady and Birdie. And I had some knowledge of the fact my dad had played banjo. So when I traded for my first banjo, I banged around on it a while and drove everybody crazy. Dad picked it up one day and just played away. And I learned some tunes from a neighbor, from Mel Hamburger, from Dad, and a few others. And I always played along. I was a couch banjo player for many years, and my dad played in somewhere around 15, 20 different tunings. I'm not sure I learned them all, but when he'd play a tune, I'd pick the banjo up and figure out what tuning he was in. So I learned a few of them, and I play in different tunings, so it's a little difficult for me to come up here and play without having more than one banjo, because if I play something in one tuning and I think something 3 tunings away, you've got to go through 2 tunings to get there. You know? So it wastes a lot of time. One thing I didn't tell folks in classes this morning, I think probably after the turn of the century, there were more women than men playing banjo and not electric pianos. I just had so many people tell me that they had a grandmother or some relative that played banjo. My father's sister played banjo. I never heard her. She died in 1936, I believe. I finally went to a Hammond's family reunion recently. My mother was in Hammond's, and one of her brothers played banjo. His wife played banjo, and they had 3 daughters that played banjo. I didn't know that. They were much older than I. But anyway, we do need more women playing banjo. I'm going to play some tunes I started in some of the classes today, but the first one I want to play for you is one of my dad's favorites. It's an special mountain tune. It's called Jolly Phil. The first 2 strings are tuned alike, so it's called a dulcimer tune. Oh, yes, oh, reminded of what James Slone said about his first cousin, Junior Slone, one time. He said, well, Junior can sing a little bit, and he can play a banjo a little bit. When he puts them both together, they sound all right. I think that sums me up. I'm going to play a little tune I learned from a young fellow from Hyman, Kentucky a long time ago. It's sort of like a tune that Gene Ritchie played. He may have learned it from Kentucky girl, I'm not sure. But he sang a few verses of it, I sort of liked the tune, and I put it in this tuning, and I played it and Coffee grows on the wild tree, river flows with brandy. I've got a gal that's neat and funny, sweet as sugar candy, slinging fire. Jubilee, live and learn. If I had no gal to talk, you would find me crawling up and down this rocky road, looking for my darling swinging bird. Jubilee, if I had a little bread, fine as I could sew, sew my darling to the sun, down the road I go, swinging bird. Jubilee, little bird. Some come around on Saturday night, some come around on Sunday. If you give me that chance, I'll be back on Monday swinging bird. Jubilee, little bird. Coffee grows on the water tree, river flows with the brine. I'm gonna gal that's moving fine, sweet as sugar candy, swinging bird. Jubilee, little bird. Thank you much. I haven't played that out of public, I don't think, before. Sometimes one of these things occurred to me and I resurrected it. For a lot of years I found out I was just sitting around picking the same tunes, and I forgot a lot that I played when I was a little. I brought back a few of them like a few years ago. I'll pick a little on Shady, bro, and show a dance list. Shady go, last night, but I hadn't played it in public before, I don't think. I learned this song from a fellow who lived up the creek from me. He lived on Buffalo Creek. His name was Forster Collins. And I don't really know what happened to him. Last I heard, he was up around Detroit, Michigan somewhere. A lot of our old-time pickers and banjo players, fiddlers, moved out of this country a long time ago. Other places. But I learned this stuff from him. The first string and the second string up sort of an E chord. I never did manage that. She had her own tune for it. This tune was a favorite tune. My father's sister, my Aunt Mom, died in 1956. Her brother-in-law told me she played it quite often. I'm going to play it for you. Sort of as a dance tune. It was used as a dance tune quite often in Knox County. And we slow it down and use it as a accordion tune. Slow it down, sounds like I wore out a new pair of shoes one night dancing to Little Birdie. very well until I forget what tuning I've got these things. I think I know where I'm going. This is a tune my father played. I'm not quite sure if he played this tune or not. I don't know if I got it from him or made it up or whatever, but it's another Dawson tune, but two middle strings tuned exactly right. And it's an old tune some of you are probably familiar with called In the Pine. Singer, banjo player, square dance caller, and dancer. He had a neighbor when he was born named Jethro Higgins. Now, Jethro claimed that he worked with John Henry over in the big Benton, West Virginia, said he knew him well. And one of the little boys standing there listening to his tale said, "Well, I've heard that his woman could drive steel like him." And he said, Jethro thought about it a long time, and thought about it, and he said, "Damn nigh, damn nigh." Anyway, I'm going to rest a little bit on the singing. Play you a little bit of John Henry. sometime. But anyway, I'm going to tune this thing down. I'm going to crank it down and get it in another gear here. Carol and I have a friend in Florida. His name is Jameson. He's in his late 70s now. He learned to play from Rufus Crisp in Allen, Kentucky, one of the greatest old-time banjo players in this country. Stu and Margot Mayo and another friend, Frida Simon, recorded Rufus for the Library of Congress in 1946. And he ordered one of his records from Smithsonian. Stu said when they recorded him in 46, he had played the banjo 12 years and he was rusty. He went back in 56, said he wished he had a recorder because he had started playing banjo. He was just an amazing banjo player. Stu tells a little tale that Rufus Crisp told. Uncle Dave Macon, who had played over the opera, was one fine, great banjo player. In his early days of traveling, apparently to generate interest in the show, he challenged the locals to a banjo contest. And they had a banjo contest over in Floyd County, and they said a lot of money was bet on it. And it was declared a draw between Rufus and Uncle Dave. So that tells you the kind of player he is. Stu said he went to the Grand Ole Opry to see Uncle Dave Macon while he was still playing, had his banjo in his hand, and walked to Uncle Dave's dressing room and said, I'd like for you to show me a thing or two, and Uncle Dave didn't have much time for him, just sort of wanted to disappear. Stu said, well, I've been learning to play from a fellow that fit you to a draw in a banjo contest. And Uncle Dave said, who was that? He said, Rufus Crisp. He said, give me that banjo, son. And he showed Stu some of his moves. Stu said his hand was drawn up with arthritis, but he still played. He's an amazing player. I hope I can do this song justice. It was a Rufus song. I never heard it anywhere else. It probably came in with the railroads around 1910, 20. It's called Big John Henry. Digging on that new railroad, but up to my knees. Digging on that new railroad, but up to my knees. Working for Big John Henry, and he's so hard to please. I've been all around this world. Once I had a big wife, play a tune, Jesse's going to learn fiddle. I'll tell you a little tale about this tune. I like to hear a good tale once in a while, and I like to tell one once in a while. And whether it's true or not doesn't matter a whole lot. But I had a friend over in Knott County named Horace Dixon who played banjo. He traded in banjo. He was from a musical family. I'd get home once or twice a year and he'd come to see me. And he was sitting around one time picking this little tune, and I said, Horace, that's a right pretty tune. I said, what's the name of that tune? He said, Morgan's March. I said, where did you learn that? He said, I learned it from my grandpap, Sam Cowan. He said he hit his horses and cattle when General John Hunt Morgan came through the Pound Gap in 1864. Said he forgot about his fiddle and left it hanging on the wall. And you know those rascals stole his fiddle. Said grandpap slipped up to their campfire that night hoping to steal it back. And said General John Hunt Morgan standing up with a fire fiddle in that tune. Said that's all my grandpap ever got out of that fiddle. Well, a few years ago, Horace was in the Knott County nursing home, and I knew he'd sold his last banjo. So I took a real fancy banjo, went in, I sat down, and I played that tune, and I said, oh, I'm going to play. His face lit up, and he told me the same tale, word for word. So, it has a possibility of having some truth in that. But it's one of the very few tunes that I heard that really didn't sing something. Several people, they said it sounds awful like Cold Creek March. There's a fellow in Orlando who pioneered bluegrass music around Orlando, a fantastic banjo player, fiddle player, guitar player, and singer. Went to his home recently for his birthday, and his son-in-law, Win Osborne, was there. Talked about hearing some good bluegrass music, banjo playing and singing. I heard him play that. But anyway, Jim Fee learned bluegrass. He was picking two finger and he heard Earl Scruggs. He just fell in naturally. He's got a natural Scruggs roll. And he was playing over the radio in this area around, I think over Harlan County around 1956. But his dad played by flipping down and stroking up. And he showed me how his dad played Cold Creek March. And he told me now, he said, this has been recorded by a couple of different people. He said, Wade Manor recorded it, called it Trickling Waters, and Ralph Steiner recorded it and changed it a little bit and called it Master Tone March. But what they were playing was Cold Creek March. Kentucky named Pete Steele. And the Smithsonian has a recording, folk raised recording of him. He was living around Hamilton, Ohio, I think, and they recorded just a great banjo player and singer. He played the most marvelous version of this of Coal Creek March. Coal Creek, Tennessee had coal mines very early, and they had several disasters there. There were several mountain tunes about Coal Creek. And I think 1891, the mine owners hired convict labor and had war over that. The governor called out troops. That was a big problem. They had at least 2 mine disasters, and I was reading in the Knott County paper recently. They had one mine cave in where people were trapped and running out of air, and I think it was dozens of men. And a lot of them left notes for their families because they had time to write notes. And the last issue of the Tropes and Creek Times I picked up, they had reprinted from, I think, a 1902 newspaper in this area, some of the notes that these men had written. But there is a song, I don't sing it. Dignified old gentleman named George Johnson. He had one son that was older and a little bit wild. Everybody called him Wild Bill. I had a young fellow learning to play banjo in Florida. He emailed me and said he wanted to know all I could tell him about Wild Bill. He thought it was the real Wild Bill. But I told another little tale. It almost got me in a little bit of trouble. I'll tell it to you. George Jones had another son named Colonel. And Colonel was reputed to make a little moonshine. When I was 10 or 12 years old, I got a taste of that stuff, and I thought it was just absolutely awful. I couldn't figure out how in the world anybody could stand to drink that stuff unless somebody held a gun on them. Anyway, I walked up to Colonel Jones's house, and he had a big saw-bladed hoe. He was hoeing in the garden. I walked along the side. He was a big, tall, lanky fellow. I said, Colonel, why in the world would anybody drink that old moon? Looked down at me. He said, well, I'll tell you, son, if you ain't got a dime, it makes you feel like $1 million. Well, apparently someone took one of my CDs out in Indiana. About 3 or 4 months later, I got a call from Indiana, and this young fellow said, well, you don't remember me. I was 6 when we moved off. My name's Arthur Jones. Was that story you told about my dad true? I thought about it a minute, and I said, was your dad Colonel Jones? And he said, yes. And he I said it was every word true. He said, I know where Dad had to steal, said, he told me. And he said, Dad wouldn't let us drink of that moonshine. I said, let us drink a little mash myself. So he and all of his brothers bought CDs. And I got to thinking about the tale I told about the only man in the United States of America that prayed his wife for you and proved it in court of law. I got to think about that, and I said, Lord have mercy, I hope God didn't use his real name. I don't want his descendants to come looking for him. If I tell any more tales, I'm going to change the name to protect the guilty.
It won't help you, George.
Pardon?
It won't help you to change names. I tried that. They all know you talking.
To get it up in the gear that my friend Ed Haggard calls no finger C. You got one finger C, two finger C, and no finger C. You know, it depends on how many fingers you take to make the chord, but you get the double C and then you do the first string all the way up. was that. So when he laid the banjo down, I picked up the banjo and figured it out.
That's great. Can we give a big thank you to George Gibson?
Thank you so much. It's such a great audience.
Yeah. Hey, y'all want to do this again next year?
Yeah! Let's have a hand for Beverly.
Boy, I appreciate that. And since I'm working on some good energy here, then I'm going to ask you all tomorrow morning, when you get to your class, you're going to get some evaluations. I know how much people love those. But if we want to do this again tomorrow, we've got to go and ask people for money to help us do it. So if you could think of things we could do better next year, ideas for next year, and just take a moment during your break and fill